Yay for being live. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I haven't been down in my office in like a hot bit. And so I couldn't find things. It was really weird. So, welcome to Being Becca Live. It is my weekly live stream where we chat about what it's like to be an autistic adult alive right now, not when research catches up, and how we're sort of handling those challenges and getting through them. So, um, last week I had a topic, you guys, and I did not um, do that topic because I had bigger things to talk about. And so this week I want to get to that topic because um, to me, this topic was an important realization. And I feel like I don't know why I didn't have it before. I don't know what about now made me have this realization. In fact, I don't really know exactly what to call it. And so I'm going to kind of talk through all of that with you guys right now because that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like this topic is important. It's something that I think for SDLers at least, and for those of you who follow, I guess if you follow and you watch this regularly, you might as well take the course because that's all I do is talk about the stuff we talk about in the course. And if you're enjoying it, you might as well take the course, which, by the way, while I'm saying it out loud, is coming up. It is going to start in September. In fact, in just a few weeks, September 15th, I start the next run of the Self-Defined Living course live, which means for the next 3 months, I will be walking through it with the next cohort, the fall 2021 cohort. And so if you are already registered, welcome to the cohort. I'm very excited to get started with you guys. If you're not yet registered, but you'd like to be, there are 4 slots left in the course. I don't have any full scholarships at the moment. I have one partial scholarship left. So if you are interested in taking the course, I can offer you a 50% scholarship. And that's what I've got. Or if you can afford to pay for it in full, of course, leaving the scholarship open for somebody else who really needs it. That is what's going on with Self-Defined Living. The registration link is on my website under Self-Defined Living. So you can go ahead and register right now if you want to. And you can just listen to me on another screen. I'm sure you have 80 million tabs open, as do I. But that's what's going on with that. And then I have to get working this week on so many things, you guys. I am like, I don't know how the end of the month sneaks up on me like this, but I have to record Asking Spectrum Women. I have to write the newsletter. I owe a couple of articles to 2 people, and I have to record Info Dump today. And I have like a bazillion things at the end of the month. And so inclusive with that is, of course, trying to get the Self-Defined Living seminar series up and running again for September. So I have not yet announced publicly anyway, or like in my social media, the Self-Defined Living seminar series, because I haven't picked a date yet, which I have to do this weekend. But I will be talking about boundary setting or setting boundaries or boundaries in general. I haven't called it anything yet. And so we'll be talking about that in September as part of the seminar series. And that's that. Hey, CV, and thank you. I love my shirt too. Wait, I'll back up. Maybe you can see the whole thing. Hold on. It's got all 4 of the kitties on there. You see them all? I love it. I love it to death. Anyway, so that's like business announcement E, but I really I am now seeing the folks who took Self-Defined Living in my very first cohort and what their lives look like now and the decisions and choices that they're making, and all of that stuff. God, I want you all to take it. Anyway, so I can't bottle up the magic any better than I have, and I really would love for autistic adults to be living fabulous lives all around me. So think about it, think about all that stuff, but let's get today to today's topic. I'm a little bit excited to talk about it, and I'm not exactly sure what to call it, but I want to call it being multifaceted. Okay. And so the word multifaceted, when I think about it, the first thing I think about are diamonds, right? And I think about all the different facets that they have on them. And thank you, Bill. And so all of those little, facets on the outside of a gem or a diamond or some kind of stone, right? And it's all the different sides and shapes, right? And it kind of, you see it reflecting different colors. The gem will look different to you on different angles because of these facets, right? And so that's where the thinking began, was in this idea that I don't have to be one thing. All right. So let me back up a bit and tell you how I kind of got to this thought process. So I was kind of in that a couple of weeks ago. Remember, I told you guys I had to drop a day at the vet's office because Antonio needs me at the shack and I have to rearrange, and this is what it looks like, and blah, 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 blah. And transitions are never easy and the whole jazzy jazz, right? We talked about all of that. And as I was actually processing through that change, I realized that a couple of things. First, I realized that I began to question my identity. And you say, Becca, that's ridiculous. You went from 3 days to 2 days and you're questioning your identity. But here's the thing. In my head, I thought, this is great. I can't wait to say it out loud. Am I still a vet tech if I only tech 2 days a week? What did I mean by that? Why was I asking myself that question? Am I still a vet tech if I'm only teching 2 days a week? Well, then I stepped back and I thought, well, am I still a vet tech if I tech only 1 day a week or no days? Does that knowledge disappear? Because I'm not actively doing it? Is it not a part of who I am? Right. And I started to really just question that thought process. Hey, Nancy. And as I was questioning the process of it, I was like, well, why? Why does it feel to me like if I'm only teching 2 days a week, I can't really say I'm a vet tech? Why does it feel like that to me? Right. And I guess somewhere in my lifetime, or perhaps over the course of my lifetime, it's been pushed into my brain so many times that I can't even tell you that pretty much you are what you do for a living. Right? So like you go to a party, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a dentist, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a janitor, right? And this idea that you are the thing you do for a living, right? So I started to question that. Why? Where did that come from? What is that, right? Why do we so heavily identify with the thing that we do for work to pay our bills? Right? Where did that idea come from when most of us, right, do a job to pay the bills that we don't really like? It's just to pay the bills. And yet we're supposed to wholly identify with that task, which is essentially what it is, a task, right? And I thought that's so weird. Like, why do we all do that, right? And it makes it feel like when you're out there in the world living, you can only do one thing. You can only be one thing. You are only one person, right? And so it makes you feel the implied, right? The implied social pressure of that is that you have to pick one thing and you have to do it with most of your time because that becomes your identifier, right? And I thought, well, that's really fucked up. When I was an executive assistant or a fancy secretary, right? I didn't want that to be my identity. That's certainly not who I felt like inside. I didn't feel like that all the time. And yet, if somebody asked me, oh, what do you do? I would have said, I'm A, right? As though I had incorporated that into my identity. And I think that's so weird, right? Okay, so then I'm thinking about that, right? I said, okay, well, let me just push that aside for a second and continue the thought process. So I'm only doing it 2 days a week. That's fine, right? What else am I doing with my week? Well, I'm also over there helping Antonio. And when I'm over there, sometimes I'm in the role of employee, but I'm mostly in the role of co-owner. I mean, Antonio and I are 50-50 in this business. And when I'm over there, I'm the manager, one of the bosses. And that's a different role that I step into over there, right? And then the rest of my time, or a good rest of my time, right? I'm doing autism advocacy. And sometimes it's in the role of a consultant where you guys don't see me at all. And it's all emails and meetings and things that the world never sees. Half of it never leaves the boardroom or whatever it is, right? And the rest of that time, I'm doing this kind of stuff, right? I'm working on the self-defined living and my social media and writing and the things that are part of advocacy, right? So that's a lot of roles. And then sometimes I'm also people's coach and mentor, right? And I have my one-on-one clients. Think about that now. It's a lot of things. Then I can layer in the other things that I am. I'm somebody's wife, right? I'm a mother and caretaker to my gazillions of animals, it feels like some days, right? I am a friend to some people, right? I am a coworker to other people, right? So when I started to kind of unravel all of it, I thought how absolutely ridiculous that I ever thought that I was just one thing, and how limiting, this is great, how limiting I have been to myself by choosing to identify by one thing, right? How self limiting is that? It's so boxy. And I hate to say it that way, but that's what it feels. It feels like you're trying to take an entire human being who is multifaceted and shove them into a single box. And a lot of people love that box. A lot of people like that label that they don't have to explain further or think about it further. Well, it's too late for me, and it's probably too late for you if you're watching this shit, right? It's too late for me to see myself as one-sided, as one-dimensional. It's too late, right? I already know that there are too many things going on in here for me. I mean, at the very core of it, I'm a writer, right? And do you want to know how much of my time I spend writing? Almost none, right? And so when I stepped back, I thought, well, what is it about that I need? Is it that I just want an answer for people, right? So in the moment, I can just say, this is what I do. And maybe that's it. And maybe it's a part of masking. And maybe I just need to pick one in whatever scenario. It doesn't have to be the same one in every scenario, right? In some scenarios, it's more apropos that I say I'm a consultant. In others, it's more apropos that I talk about the fact that I'm a vet tech. Why? Maybe I don't want to talk about my autism. Maybe it's somebody who's up here in my town and they know the vet I work at. And so it's easier to say, oh, I work over there, right? I can be all of those things, and none of those things have to be lies. They are all truths. I do not have to be or identify with one thing. And I stress that because I don't want us getting stuck identifying as only autistic. Yes, I am autistic. I will never deny my autismness, right? But it's just a part of a way to describe me. A huge part, an important part, nonetheless, right? A large portion of who I am, but there's more. And I don't want to limit myself by just saying I'm autistic or I'm a vet tech or I co-own a business with my husband or, right? I don't want that for myself anymore. I don't want to live a life that looks like that anymore. It doesn't work for me. And here's why. Okay. I went down to the 2 days. I love the job more. Here's why. My brain and sensory system was really struggling with more than 2 days in that environment, right? Not anybody's fault. Just I have limits, right? And it was past 2 days, in fact, that on that third day, I would start to really feel unwell. I would start to really dislike the job or be really tired. I would have poo-poo negative things to say and all kinds of that. And I think it's because I had passed my threshold of sensory tolerance, right? So I've moved to 2 days and I feel the difference. I can handle the 2 days. After the second day, I'm pretty stressed out. Like I'm pretty done by the end of the second day, but I feel good done, like fulfilled done. When I go there, it reminds me that I have other skills than just sitting at this computer and doing live streams with you guys, that I have other skill sets than just sitting and being pensive and putting it down on paper, that I can do other things that are also important and important parts of who I am. My brain fucking loves teching. I love the order of it. I love excuse me, I love seeing the science behind it. One of my favorite shows in the world is House, and that's because I love diagnostics. It's one of my favorite parts of when we get patients. Like I look through the calendar and I'm like, oh, these are the symptoms that they're presenting with and the reason for the appointment. And what can I gather from that information? And then when I see the patient in person, right, it's like a mystery, and I love it. And I love that I know how the tools work, and I love that I know how I've seen all the dirty and ugly and all of that stuff, right? The nitty gritty of life, right? And it's a very real job. It's a very in the moment job, and it gives me a break from being in here, right? And so it's a break from that. And then the sensory gets to be too much at a certain point. And so 2 days is perfect for me, actually, right? And then Sunday, everything's closed. So I get Sunday off and I get back at it to Monday, right? With the work at the coffee shack and also the work on the computer, right? But it's like, I don't I don't necessarily need to have days off or days off together or entirely off at all. What I need is control of my time for much of my week. And when I'm doing autism stuff or I'm working with the coffee shack and it's me and Antonio, right? My time is mine. When I'm at the vet's office, my time is theirs. It belongs there. My energy belongs there. Everything does. And I give that away freely. Well, not freely because I get paid. So I make a transaction for that energy, right? But I also find it fulfilling. And any more than those 2 days, I was seeming to not find fulfilling anymore because I was feeling sensory overloaded. So, what I want to say is by limiting the days that I'm doing any one thing or being any one person to people, right? Um, by limiting those to just, a few at a time, I get to experience all of me every week. Does that make sense? I get to be all of me all week long and express all the different parts of me, which creates the one thing that I have been searching for forever, that I've been teaching you guys to search for, and that is balance, right? This idea of needing to be one thing the majority of the time has forced unnatural imbalance upon my life, my entire life. And when I lay it out and I don't require that of myself, and I say, hey, I don't have to be one thing. I'm more than one thing. I am an amazing, multifaceted gemstone. And today, here's this side of my stone where I'm a vet tech. And today, here's this side where I'm an advocate. And today, here's this side where I'm a wife, right? And so, in remembering that, I freed myself. In remembering that this is what feels good to me, forget what I'm supposed to do. This is what feels right to me in my body, right? Wow. What an awakening, right? What an understanding, because the thought that I had to be a one thing and a one answer to everybody, and not just to everybody, but to me inside, that I felt like that was something that had to be, that I had to chase, right? Has limited me for so many years, right? Has made me feel like I'm not really working if I'm only doing a job 2 days. Well, sure, I'm only doing that job for 2 days, but I have like a gazillion other jobs that I'm doing all week long, right? I don't know how I fell into that hole, but what I do know is that the awakening out of it has been like amazeballs, right? Suddenly I'm like, yeah, on the days that I'm there, I'm a vet tech, and sometimes I can share that with people on other days. All of that identifying, labeling language is in our control. And how we choose to share ourselves with the world on any particular day is up to us, right? And that doesn't necessarily make them lies. They're all truths, right? I'm an advocate, I'm a consultant, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a speaker, I'm a writer, right? I do all of those things. None of them are lies. I just do them all at the same time, which is really actually kind of fucking amazing, right? Don't you think? And so when I unboxed it all, literally unboxed it, right? I could have had an entirely different experience and relationship with employment. I could have had it all this time. I never had to be more than part-time anywhere if I didn't want to be. But that belief that I did, that I had to choose a career path, right, has held me back in a lot of different ways. And I've been reflecting on them recently, obviously, since I came to this understanding, but I've also been trying to enjoy what it means right now for me. God, I have something stuck in my throat. It's so annoying. And so what I want to say is today's lesson or today's conversation is to ask yourself this question. Have you been unconsciously boxing yourself in somewhere, right? in a role, in a label? Have you been limiting yourself in your own life, in your own thought patterns by beliefs that aren't necessarily your own, or ones you haven't even taken the time to consider, really? It's not that they're not your own, but that you haven't taken the time to reconsider them in quite some time. And so what I say is reconsider them today. Please think about this stuff, right? So CV says, I never know the answer to what do you do, right? And it's true. If you aren't someone that chooses a path like that, a traditional path, what is the answer to that? And so, what I say to you, CV, is maybe our question back needs to be, what do you mean? Right? What do you mean by what do you do? I do a lot of things. Right? What do I do to pay my bills? Is that what you're asking? Right? And I think that's going to be our clue. That's going to be our in the way to adjust the conversations to suit us, and our way to mold and change the conversations and how they go, right? Because that's it, right? That's the whole purpose of creating a life that feels like your own, is truly creating it in all of these places. And here was this trauma pocket of employment that I've had my whole life, right? Well, not my whole life. I mean, when I was 16, I started working. So 16 plus, right? But I've had all this time and trauma over this topic. And I had some unpacking to do, you guys. And that meant stepping directly into the mouth of the beast, by the way, right? I did it. I took the risk, right? But the rewards have been multifold, like not just in gaining some confidence and some old skill sets and all of that stuff and whatever, but I've also made friends over at the vet's office. So those 2 days is my social life. Those 2 days mean a lot inside of my life besides just the paycheck that it brings, right? And I think that's how we have to start thinking about all of those things. We have to start considering the greater impact of how we identify. And so with that, I want to lay things on the table about that. I don't become less of an advocate if I don't tell someone I'm autistic in a particular situation, right? We don't have to be one thing, you guys. We get to be multifaceted human beings, and we don't have to limit ourselves by the limiting beliefs of our society. We don't have to do that. We get to make that change in the world that we're living in, and we don't have to be surrounded by people who think in a limited way either. And so I want you guys to take some time today and really think about that. Hey, Taz, so glad that you made it. Oh, I'm so glad you made it. And so what I was thinking about is that I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to know from you guys if you find places where you've secretly boxed yourself in, where you've unconsciously labeled yourself or tried to stick to one particular label, and what parts of yourself have you not been giving credit to, right? What parts of yourself have you been forgetting or not giving a lot of attention to? I think that's the stuff we need to think about this week, or that's the stuff that I'd like you to think about this week, because I am fascinated by this box that I created and I was sort of living in. And even though I thought I was living unboxed, there have to be more. I'm sure there are, and I'll probably uncover them as I go. But this was a big one, you guys. This one was like, wait, I don't have to be one thing because I'm not one thing, right? So pretending to be something I'm not is just not authentic. And I've chosen to live authentic and vulnerable. And so I am many things. There are many labels I would attach to myself. And in fact, I'd probably come up with 10 to 12. And how dare I limit myself even to that, right? Think about it. All right. That's what I have for you today, you guys, is some thoughts on being multifaceted. Because that's what I feel like it is. It was in ignoring other sides to myself, which is really important that I don't. And so to you guys, I say, I'm looking forward to seeing your facetness. I want to see all of your facets. I want you guys to find them. And I want all of those sides of yourself to get credit out in the world. I want them all to be validated. So let's start unboxing ourselves. Let's start looking, right, at how it is that we truly identify inside, right, based on all of the social pressures right, being removed. When we really remove those things, how do we feel about us? How do we see ourselves? It's an interesting thought process. But I feel like this week I am not lesser than of a vet tech, or lesser than of an autistic, or lesser than an advocate, consultant, coach, wife, co-owner of a coffee shop. I am not lesser than of any of those things. Not one of them is more of who I am. They are all equal parts of who I am, and thus balance has been restored. Yeah, makes sense. Well, we'll see. In any case, I'm going to get going, you guys. I hope you found this topic interesting. I'd love to see your comments wherever you're watching this video. I would love to see your thumbs up or thumbs down telling me my content is good, bad, or otherwise. I love your views, of course. Your shares mean tons, and new subscribers mean everything to me. And so I would love to see more and more of you here every week. Until then, please remember to go and check out the course, Self-Defined Living. It's on my website, BeccaLory.com. Links are down below in the description of this video. Yeah, don't forget to keep an eye out for the September seminar series. We're going to be talking about boundary setting. Newsletter is coming out in the next week or so. So if you are not yet signed up for my free newsletter, where we talk thematically once a month about some topic and how to make our lives better using the tool that it is, and all of those good things. What else? On there is my Ko-Fi store, of course. The Redbubble store is there. All of my social media, my writing, and of course the contact page. So if you would like to reach out to me directly, you are always welcome to do so. You can either use the contact page on my website, BeccaLory.com, or you can email me directly at info@BeccaLory.com. Either way, I love hearing from you guys. I love your thoughts, your perspective, and I love getting to know you guys better. So any which way I can do that, I surely do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to spend some spoons with me. I will see you guys back here, of course, next Wednesday with the next Being Becca Live. And of course, I'll be here on Sunday with the next Growing Gratitude. Have a good week, you guys. I will see you out and about on the interwebs. Until then, get out there and seek joy, create joy, share joy, all the joys. And I will see you on Sunday for Growing Gratitude. Bye.